The Pentagon just dumped 162 declassified UFO files onto the internet. Naturally, the world went into a frenzy. Social media feeds are saturated with grainy infrared footage, glowing orbs performing impossible maneuvers, and high-ranking officials speaking in hushed tones about unidentified aerial phenomena. For many, this is the ultimate validation, a sign that we are finally ready to embrace the truth of our place in the universe. Millions of eyes are glued to the sky, searching for answers to a mystery that has haunted humanity for decades. But while the collective gaze of the public is fixed on the stars, Robert Kiyosaki, the world-renowned author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is shouting at us to look back down at the ground. Because right beneath our feet, the very foundation of our financial lives is not just shifting, it is starting to evaporate. Kiyosaki once shared a chilling lesson from his Rich Dad. Your attention is your most valuable financial asset. In the economy of the future, those who control the narrative control the wealth. The moment someone controls where you look, they control what you miss. This isn't just about media consumption, it's about the redirection of human consciousness. If you are looking at the sky, you aren't looking at your bank statement. If you are debating the propulsion systems of a craft from another dimension, you aren't debating the debt-to-GDP ratio of your own nation. And right now, we are missing the biggest heist in history. While the internet debates whether a blurry speck of light is a visitor from another galaxy, the real-world numbers are far more terrifying and far more certain. Crude oil is sitting at $120. Gas has hit $4.60. And in just 24 hours, over 1,000 tech workers, real people with real mortgages, families, and dreams, lost their jobs. Robert doesn't deny the fascination of UFOs. He's a curious man himself. But he points out that the timing of declassifying 162 files with a conclusion of unresolved is a masterclass in psychological warfare and information control. Think about that word, unresolved. It is a deliberate, calculated void. In the world of intelligence, unresolved is a tool. It doesn't mean investigated and explained. It doesn't mean foreign adversary aircraft. It is a blank space designed to keep your brain in a loop of endless speculation. It triggers our primal curiosity and our fear of the unknown, creating a mental trap that consumes our cognitive bandwidth. Meanwhile, behind this curtain of extraterrestrial mystery, the most important financial event of the decade is approaching with the stealth of a predator. A critical leadership shift at the Federal Reserve on May 15th. This is not just another bureaucratic update. It is a move that could reshape global currency flows, dictate interest rates for a generation, and fundamentally alter the purchasing power of every dollar you have worked for over the last 30 years. Yet, you won't find a single viral thread about it on social media. There are no grainy videos of Fed officials discussing the death of the dollar, even though that phenomenon is far better documented than any UFO sighting. Propaganda isn't just about hiding the truth, it's about choosing which truth to show you. The Pentagon holds millions of classified files, a vast archive of secrets that define the power dynamics of the world. But they carefully curated exactly 162 for you. That's not transparency, that's drawing a boundary. It is an act of defining the limits of public discussion. By giving you 162 files, they are telling you what you are allowed to argue about. It's exactly like a public company highlighting its record-breaking growth on page 1 of an annual report, while burying its toxic debt, looming lawsuits, and pension liabilities in a tiny, single-spaced footnote on page 47. or a central bank reporting core inflation while conveniently ignoring the two things you actually need to survive: the food on your table and the energy in your tank. They show you the extraordinary so you don't notice the catastrophic. The cracks in the system are widening into chasms while we stare at the stars. Private credit debt has just hit 9.2%, the highest level in recorded history. This is the world of shadow banking, a realm of unregulated lending that has become the lifeblood of the global economy. It is a ticking time bomb that most people don't even know exists. When this bubble pops, there will be no bailout for the average person. At the same time, the four largest financial institutions in the world are simultaneously restricting cash withdrawals. They cite security and system updates. But for those with a rich dad mindset, it smells like a liquidity crisis. They are keeping the doors locked while the house is on fire. We also have 80 million baby boomers, the largest generation of earners and savers in history, about to retire into the most dangerous market in 15 years. They were told to play by the rules. They were told to put their money in 401ks and diversified mutual funds. They were told that these were safe investments. Now they are watching those savings dwindle as the US dollar faces its heaviest pressure since President Nixon ended the gold standard in 1971. In 1971, the dollar became a debt instrument rather than a wealth instrument. Today, the bill for that decision is coming due. Why aren't we talking about this? Why isn't this the lead story on every news cycle? Because it's not thrilling. It doesn't have the sci-fi appeal of an alien invasion or the drama of a galactic cover-up. But the billionaire class isn't watching the skies for green men. They are watching the Fed's balance sheet. They are tracking the flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz. They are watching the price of gold per ounce and the tightening of the credit markets. They know that the extraordinary is the perfect camouflage for the urgent. They know that while the masses are distracted by things they cannot control, the elite are securing the things they can control. Kiyosaki's poor dad spent his whole life looking at whatever the mainstream news told him to look at. He was a good man, a hard worker, but he followed the script. He believed that the government would protect him and the news would inform him. His rich dad, however, spent his life looking at what the news wasn't telling him. He looked at the shadows. "Robert," the rich dad said, "every prospectus tells you what the company wants you to know. Success in investing, and in life, is the art of finding what the prospectus leaves out. It's about reading the white space between the lines. Your attention is finite. It is the most valuable currency you own because it is the only one that cannot be printed by a central bank. Every minute spent debating the origin of a blurry orb is a minute you aren't spending understanding the silent, aggressive evaporation of your life savings. Oil at $120 is not a theory. It is an added cost on every item you buy. Your retirement being at risk is not a mystery. It is a mathematical certainty based on current debt levels. The instability of the dollar is not a conspiracy. It is a historical fact for every fiat currency in the history of the world. So put down the telescope and open the ledger. Stop looking for visitors from the stars and start looking at the people who are currently in charge of your money. The rich don't watch UFO movies today. They watch the money. They watch the power. They watch the resources. Because at the end of the day, it's not the aliens that will bankrupt you. It's the things you were too distracted to notice until the bank door was already locked.